Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to your first video. I'm going to focus on just 1.1 today. Very short. You're going to have to do the biomes as well today, but this is the first one, and I'm going to show you all the different pieces I'm going to be putting into these videos. So that's why I thought it would be good to just kind of do one at a time for the first day. After this, I will be doing one video per day. I think, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so we're going to follow along with the CED, or the course and exam description that's put out by the College Board. So that's what we're going to be following here. Some of the things I've taught you will not be on this, you're not going to be tested on, so that they're not included in this review. We're only looking at units 1 through 7. This is not the same order I went in. It's, if you follow that Google Sheets that I made up, you're going to see it's not exactly the same. A lot of the pollution stuff is not on there. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at Unit 1, the living world and ecosystems. This is going to bring us, we're going to do this for a couple of days, and then you're going to do the progress track. So here, all right, we have a couple things going on. First of all, you can see the title is up here. Then you have this enduring understanding that is for 1.1. The enduring understanding of 1.1 is that ecosystems are the result of biotic and abiotic interactions. Biotic meaning living, abiotic meaning non-living. So examples of biotic would be animals, bacteria, anything like that, plants, whereas abiotic is water, the living, like nutrients that are in the soil, the oxygen in the air, any of those things. The objective of all of 1.1 is going to be to explain how the availability of resources influences species interactions. And then the first essential knowledge, and there are 3 to 1.1, and that's really convenient that goes right in front of that, is that a predator-prey relationship, the predator is an organism that eats another organism, which is the prey. All right. So that's what this slide is going to focus on, the first one. On this slide, the picture, and I'm going to use diagrams and pictures as much as possible because I feel like that's gives you a better visualization, and you have written notes on this already. You've already done that. So I am going to make sure I go onto the website and post every PowerPoint from every unit. So go back and look if you want to review in that way as well. This is just a quick review. All right, so these are, it's not shown here, but they really should be on different scales. This is in Canada. This is a look at the lynx and the rabbit. They're looking at 2 species. All right, it is not a perfect example because the lynx are going to eat other things besides the rabbit, and other things are going to eat the rabbit besides the lynx. However, when you do plot out their populations over time, you do see a cyclic pattern that is basically predictable based on each other. So we're going to start out with the lynx. When that's high, it puts pressure on the rabbit, and the rabbit goes lower. All right, when the rabbit goes lower, there's no foods, so the lynx get lower. As the lynx go lower, the rabbit gets higher. Okay, and this will continue on and on. When the rabbit gets higher, the lynx will get higher. When the lynx gets higher, the rabbit goes lower. Guys, this is an example of a negative feedback mechanism. Okay. Again, over here, the enduring understanding is the same from the previous one because we're still on 1.1. Learning objective, still the same. We're still on 1.1. But the essential knowledge has changed here. So we're going to include something else. And right now we're looking at how symbiosis is a close and long-term interaction between 2 species in an ecosystem. The types of symbiosis include mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. So everyone's favorite here is definitely mutualism because everybody is benefiting. So it's like a good, happy relationship. In this example, you have a clownfish and an anemone. The clownfish gets protection from the anemone, and the anemone is actually consuming little bits of bacteria off of the clownfish. So that's a great example. I feel like there's so many examples of symbiosis. You are living in symbiosis with an organism right now. You have bacteria in your gut that is helping provide some nutrients to you, like vitamin K, helping you break down some of your food. But really, the purpose of it is to keep out the bad bacteria, right? And so they're providing you a service, and the service you provide them is a place to live, an ecosystem, right? So many cool examples of symbiosis. You have, pollinators. That's an example of symbiosis. The bees are providing the service of pollination for the plants, and the plants are actually giving them food that they can use to make honey. They're giving them a source of sugar. So one of the cooler examples, I think. There's commensalism. All right, one is harmed and the other, one is helped and the other is not really harmed. Mostly you find this with plants growing on other plants, epiphytes and epifauna. Spanish moss that grows on all the trees down south is a good example of this, right? So one organism is helped, the other is really just not affected. Birds building nests in trees is an example of this. The tree isn't harmed or helped, but the bird really is, okay? And then here is a tick, which is gross, but obviously classic parasite. Mosquitoes, ticks, tapeworms, anything that's going to live off another organism. Typically remember that parasites don't kill the organism, but they do harm it. When you have enough parasites, you weaken the organism enough that it is likely to die, usually from something else. Why does a parasite not kill its host? Because then it has no host. Okay. And then resource partitioning. Okay, so we're talking about competition here. Competition can occur with in or between species in an ecosystem where there are limited resources. Resource partitioning is using resources in different ways, places, or at different times that can reduce the negative impact of competition on survival. Okay, so we're going to talk about Gauss's principle. All right, and that's when you can imagine me using my hands like I would in class, right? But when two organisms have a niche, remember, a niche is exactly its role in the ecosystem. When two organisms have a niche that completely overlap, they are directly competing, and one is going to win and the other is going to die. So when you overlap them when you overlap them a little bit, then they compete a little bit, and that's fine. But most organisms have evolved a niche where they're not really competing with each other at all. If you take a look at this diagram, this is a great example of that. So notice the yellow rumped warbler over here, which actually we see here often over here, and notice this guy. So these guys would compete over here in this area, right? But they're not going to compete directly. They're just going to compete in a little part of their niche. So it's not going to be that bad. These guys, the black-throated green warbler and the bay-breasted warbler, they're going to have the most direct competition. Now, there are some pieces where they're not in competition, right out here. But you can see that their niches in this tree at least overlap a lot. This is going to cause more competition. They may not be in the same areas of the country. That would be interesting to me, is to see maybe they don't have really compete because they don't have overlying niches because they live in different areas, maybe different altitudes. That would be kind of interesting to see. What else do I want to say about this? I think that's it. All right. Okay. So right now what you're going to do is you're going to go down to the next, I'm going to create an ed puzzle with this video. And you're going to, actually, you should be watching this with ed puzzle and you should have stopped and already gotten the questions. I just didn't create it yet. Okay, sorry. Bye.